More than 1.2 million people in Lebanon are expected to face acute hunger this year due to conflict, displacement and economic pressures from the latest war between Israel and Hezbollah, according to a report by the World Food Programme. It stands to be the worst food security crisis in Lebanon's history, according to the report, and will be particularly acute between April and August this year. And for more on the humanitarian situation in Lebanon, I can welcome Anne Valand, Country Director and Head of Operations for the World Food Programme in Lebanon. Good morning, Anne, and thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell me just how dire is the food security situation in Lebanon right now?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Indeed, our latest integrated phase classification, which is the tool that we use to analyze food insecurity in country, shows a significant deterioration in food security among all populations living in Lebanon. We are estimating that in the coming months, 1.24 million will face acute food insecurity. That is a dire increase compared to the 874,000 that we have estimated to be food insecure in the previous period.
Now, the displacement of those 1.2 million people, which make up like more than a quarter of Lebanon's population, is one factor in this humanitarian crisis. How much of a factor is disruption to Lebanon's agricultural sector and to supply chains?
That is absolutely right. The food security crisis that we are facing here is a compound of several different factors over time. Most recently, the displacement has severely contributed to this rise in food insecurity, where people are uprooting their lives, essentially losing their homes, their assets, and moving into areas with very little to draw from. Similarly, the impact on livelihoods, including agriculture, is another significant factor that will affect people's income and therefore their possibility to afford basic items, including food. Agriculture is particularly concerning also because it is a source of affordable food for the population in Lebanon. Destruction of land or the impossibility of produce harvests in the coming cycle is very likely to contribute to driving up prices, making Lebanon more and more dependent on imports of food and other basic commodities.
Now, there is a ceasefire in place between Israel and Hezbollah, but as is often the case in wars in the region recently, attacks are continuing. Has the ceasefire been any help at all in alleviating the problem of hunger?
Of course, we welcome a ceasefire. However, displacement continues to remain extremely high. We continue to see a lot of displaced people in shelters and staying with host communities. And for sure, the impacts of such displacement are going to have a lasting effect. We continue providing humanitarian through various mechanisms. We provide hot meals in shelters, we provide cash assistance through people in communities, through government mechanisms, and we continue providing food parcels in hard-to-reach areas where markets are suffering from the current situation. So we continue facing very important needs, and we expect that this will continue to be there for the coming months.
Now, with regard to accessibility towards food, it's one thing being able to actually get the basic foodstuffs to come through, but getting them delivered to people and also giving them the possibility of cooking food, how much of a challenge is that?
So as much as possible, we try to provide an assistance modality to people that gives them normalcy and a sense of dignity as well. So where possible, where markets are functioning, where people are living in homes and can cook, we try to provide them cash assistance to buy food on the market. But as you rightly said, in shelters, people do not have access to cooking facilities. So where we can, we provide hot meals that are delivered on a daily basis by WFP and its multiple partners and multiple kitchens that are supporting the humanitarian response. And in areas that where markets are being severely affected by the current situation, where traders are no longer being able to bring food. We provide food parcels with basic commodities that people are able to receive and cook in their homes where they are still able to access kitchens.
Do you consider the response from the international community to the situation to be adequate?
We have done our best to meet all the immediate needs, which of course are plentiful in the beginning of the crisis. Very rapidly, needs continue to outpace the resources. I'd say the main obstacle right now is, on the one hand, funding. The regional crisis is also significantly affecting prices, and therefore the humanitarian response continues to also grow in cost. Another significant request from the humanitarian community is to ensure maintained access to areas so that we're able to reach all the people that are currently in need.
And what might be the worst case scenario in the coming months if things get considerably worse?
If we continue to experience various factors that can continue to compound the food security situation, including potential ongoing hostilities, ongoing displacement, but also the impact of international factors, we can expect that prices will be increasing, will be more and more difficult for people to afford, and therefore people who had even in the last couple of years found some sense of stability may be pushed into vulnerability and food insecurity in the coming period. So unless we continue to support people and maintain some of the stability gains that have been made, we may see a further deterioration in the food security situation.
And what more would you like governments, international governments and international bodies to do to alleviate the situation?
I think it is extremely important to continue supporting the humanitarian crisis. We will continue to see its impact. There are certainly, there continue to be displacement, there continue to be market dysfunctions. So we will continue to see growing needs. So it's very important to maintain attention on these humanitarian requirements, to continue to support them, and to ensure that access is being provided to be able to reach all people in need.
Thank you very much for that. Anne Valand, Deputy Country Director of the World Food Programme in Lebanon.
Thank you very much.